All right, welcome back to Paradyme, everybody. My name is Devin, and in this episode, we are reading the book titled The Catalyst by Jonah Berger. We are currently on chapter 2, titled Endowment. I want to remind you guys, head down to the description, follow us on all social media platforms, and don't forget to support the channel by liking, subscribing, and dropping some comments. Leave some feedback so we can improve every single week. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode and have a great rest of your day.
A new set of rules.
Bread is of little use to the man who has betrayed his soul.
Maybe you're the protagonist in your story, but like there's a million other people.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to Paradyme. This is June 28, 2021. I hope you guys are having a great day, great week, great month. The book we're reading is The Catalyst, How to Change Anyone's Mind by Jonah Berger. That's what it looks like. This past week, we read chapter 2, titled Endowment. So what do you guys think of this chapter?
I'll go ahead and go. I really love this chapter because I'm starting to notice that a lot of the topics in this book, The Catalyst, is sort of like reverse engineering someone's mind. And there's an idea in here that talks about overvaluing things just as much as we tend to think that we undervalue things in our life. So it's important to know what you're overvaluing.
Yeah, and understanding attachment too. When you we'll get into it, but understanding that we're linked, we get attached to things when we know it's ours. If it's a friendship, if it's a materialistic thing, it could be anything. If you understand that you own that potential relationship, material thing, like you have a certain level of attachment to it and you're willing to let it go for a higher value rather than if you didn't have it and it brings you really no real value. So the book is gonna go crazy, dude.
I think he's referring to when he talks about the coffee mug, right?
Yeah, like owning. Yeah, so it's like, I think just understanding, like when you own things and you have an attachment to something, it's harder to let it go. And
Right.
we'll get into more detail,
Right.
but that's kind of like the importance that I found from this chapter.
Okay.
How about you, John?
For me, I like it. It opens up about how people take the cost to learn something new or to the initial cost to do something normally deters them from doing something new, even if it would benefit them in the long run, because the initial cost to them seems too high.
Right.
And in this chapter, it breaks down how if you actually break down the benefit towards you or the loss that you're consistently taking to keep something the same, then people are like, oh, that's why I should change.
Yeah,
Right.
showing the negative. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good chapter. One of the biggest things I took away from it was how attached we become to the status quo.
Yeah.
I think we're all guilty of that. The topic that I took away from the whole chapter, however, was from page 88, I actually have a quote written down. It says, whenever people think about changing, they compare things to their current state, the status quo. And if potential gains barely outweigh the potential losses, they don't budge. People become endowed to their lifestyles and must be convinced of the downside of not changing to actually change. And so I thought it was a really interesting chapter to bring up a lot of different instances. And one really interesting thing in the book is the case studies that they have. They do it throughout the whole chapter.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a really cool, interesting chapter, and I can't wait to get into it. All right, let's dive into it.
Let me fix your mic real quick because I can see it's facing me and not you.
Oh, okay.
You see the logo?
Yeah. Oh, there you
Okay.
go.
Am I good? Can you guys hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah, you
Alright.
sound crystal.
Okay. Yeah. So, anybody want to start it off? I got a little
Yeah, I don't really take too many notes.
Send it.
I really like this little part that I highlighted on page 64. It says, the status quo bias is everywhere. People tend to eat the same foods they've always eaten, buy the same brands they've always bought, and donate to the same causes they've always supported. What do you guys think about that?
Well, why did it stand out to you?
To me, because I can draw a lot of parallels to my life, like things that I do. I've noticed within myself that I do a lot of the same things, and I kind of like stick to that same thing. Like Uncle Harry's, I fuck with Uncle Harry's.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't really like going to other bagel places. You know what I mean?
And let me ask you this: how often do you order a new sandwich when you go to Uncle Barry's?
I don't.
See, I feel like every time I go, I generally like. I'm on a new sandwich I like there now, like called the Capri or something like that. Shit slap. Before then it was the Oso hash, and before that it was the So Cali.
Yeah.
And like, I enjoy trying. Like, what else is dope here? You know?
Yeah.
I think I would too if like I ate meat, you know what I mean? But I can always switch it up and do something else. But there's something about the same thing that I get all the time, like it's like it slaps. I'm like,
It's because
yes,
you're confident
it's gonna be good.
that'll be exactly what you want or what you know.
Right.
Definitely.
And he even says towards the end of that chapter, like, a while, like, it attributes to nostalgia, because, like, it's you trained yourself for a long period of time that, like, this thing is the best thing, and I don't really want to change from it. And we're gonna go into it, but he says, like, something subtle is at play, like you recognizing that, like, you're comfortable, or that status quo that you've kind of acknowledged, like, I don't want change, or whether you say that I don't want change or you do want change, you not making a change is affecting you the same way if you recognize it or not.
Right.
So,
Moving on. Did anybody else have something around that same area?
I thought it was interesting on page 62. He's talking about he needed a new phone.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Yeah, this is great.
And so for myself, I even see this behavior in myself. So a little background story. The author, his phone started taking a dump on him. And
I love taking dumps.
We all take dumps, except for girls. Girls don't take dumps. Girls don't poop.
He was really attached to the phone, and I can recall to myself with a laptop, right? I just got this new laptop during the last semester of my undergraduate career, and, you know, I'm looking at it, and I'm performing assignments with my old laptop when I have a new one. And the reasoning was always like, oh, I'll just wait till the end of the semester. I'm already on this one. And instead of having to learn the new system, learn how to operate a new laptop during the semester, I decided to push it off the same way he does with his phone. So what really came to his eye-opening experience was like, I need to make a flight. I need to print a boarding pass. And he couldn't do it in time, and he missed his flight.
Yeah.
And so that really brought to the surface like, hey, I need to move on to the newer, better things. And he talks about later the two styles of how to approach endowment. But I thought it was really interesting because I do this exact thing. Do you guys have that same experience?
Yeah.
I think most people, I can remember, I do this shit all the time with phones too. I'll break a phone. I had this one phone, my iPhone, it had completely shattered, and the home button, back when iPhones had home buttons, was gone. And it wouldn't work. And what I would do is I would lick my thumb and press where the button used to be, and it would still work. And I was like, I got more time with this bad boy. Like I was comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready to make the investment to get either a new one financially or just the whole thing of going to the store, getting the thing, transferring everything over. I was like, it just so much work. It works right now. It's fine.
yeah. Even like just, I would crack so many phones and just let it go to where like the glass is coming out, and then you using your phone and getting glass shards in your finger, and be like, oh, I just pull it out. I'm not bleeding. Like, just keep doing that over until the phone doesn't work anymore.
Right. We become endowed to those things.
Yeah,
you know?
it's crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
One thing I like to touch on, Dev brought it up earlier about the mug. He was bringing up when it's just a classic white coffee mug, something you'd see at your average diner in your hometown. And during a blind survey, they asked people, what would you pay for this cup? And the average price was $3 to buy it, to purchase it. And then when they've changed the question to saying, okay, now this mug is yours, how much would you sell it for? The average answer changed to $7. So over 100% evaluation.
Yeah.
Only because now it's theirs, it's in their possession.
Right.
And that's what he's bringing out. And it could be worthless, but the fact that we own it, we add
more value.
We add more value to it, whether it deserves it or not.
That was so. When you guys were reading that, were you guys like, "What the fuck?" Like, because when I was reading it, I was like I was imagining myself, and I had this like weird attachment. Like if it was my mug, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try and get more money out of it for some random reason.
Well, think about like buying something new. Think about buying a new laptop and you selling your laptop. Obviously, you're gonna have to knock the price down, but our first initial like price, we're gonna want to sell it for more than what we got it for.
Yeah, I think for me it works like that because I kind of have like that sales mind, and for me it's like I want the best. I want to start as high as I think someone would pay for this thing, just on principle.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah, it even says at the bottom of the page, going to the next page, it turns out that once we have something, once we've endowed with it, we start to become attached to it, and consequently we value it more.
That's what I
And
highlighted
so,
too.
like, I
Yeah.
remember being a kid and like trying to buy a PS3 off of my homie, and he's like, you know, back in the day, they came out for $600,
It's fucking crazy.
and like he bought it for like $100 off a friend. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm selling it. I was like, how much you want for it? He's like $200. I'm like, bro,
Fuck
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You bought it for $100. What are we talking about
Oh,
right now?
man.
The PS4 is dropping in a couple months. What are we
I'm trying
talking
to
about?
play some video
I
games.
used to, actually, I hate people like that though, because very rarely do I fucking sell things. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want this shit anymore. I just give it away. It bothers me.
Hate's
Hell yeah.
a strong word.
You're right. I hate those people. Fucking hate them.
I highlighted something right after that too.
Send it.
Ownership even increases. Wait, hold on. Let me start. Ownership even increases the perceived value of beliefs and ideas. When something is ours, we value it more. So, kind of just speaking to what we just talked about right now. It's just
What is this?
for the listeners.
Right.
The
Sentimental
concept we're
value.
talking about is if you own something, you just
Yeah,
you
he didn't
value
give it.
more.
He didn't give it a title like he did the next sub heading.
Right.
He just called it "Of Mugs and Men."
Yeah.
But the next subheading is pretty interesting too.
I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't just apply to material things either. It's ideas, it's
Yeah.
routines, it's
The
it's how you
relationships.
think.
Yeah, it's
Relationship.
everything.
Right. You value things higher when it becomes yours, you know? I thought it was a really interesting idea, and it makes a ton of sense because, like, we can all think of an aspect in our life where that's happened, you know?
Right. I was gonna ask too, what's like something you guys are like, is the mug but not the mug to you? Something that's doesn't have to be super crazy, but it's like you own it and you could probably change it or something. Like you guys were talking about phones, like broken phones and whatnot. Is there anything you guys can think of?
Start.
Okay, so later in the chapter, he talks about his friend that writes out an email signature every single email.
Oh, that does happen.
I literally wrote under that is exactly me. And
That's
right
me
after
too.
reading that, I went and made an email signature because I've been my whole undergraduate career. Thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate it. Jonathan Christopher. Right? And so,
yeah.
literally, like, I was like, oh, I was his friend. Like, oh, I mean, it's like 2 seconds at the end of every email. That's cool. You
That's
know?
not a big deal.
And,
Yeah.
and then it turns out to be 10 hours of a year.
I do that same shit for work. Like my whole company header and everything. I was like,
Right.
it's whatever. I almost had that many emails.
Yeah.
I could have done it.
Exactly. And so right after that, I was like, yeah, I'm wasting time of my year typing out stuff that's like rudimentary and does it like something you put at the end of every email. And so I literally went and changed it. I was like, this is saving me 10 hours a year, roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you guys?
I can't. I'm trying to like really.
Okay, I got one then.
All right.
I've had this pair of Vans since my
I was gonna say shoes too.
since my freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
And I still have them. Like, and they're my favorite pair. And I actually stopped wearing them probably about a year ago because I was so scared they were gonna break all the dude. They're very holy. I've bleached them. They were originally I think blue, now they're white. And I was packing up all my stuff, and I looked at them. I was like, "No way, I can let you guys go." Like, I love them, I don't know. They're like in me, so I'm keeping them forever.
You're keeping them, so I'm keeping them forever.
For me, it's like clothes. Like I have clothes that I'm just like, I don't want to like get rid of this because I did so many things in this shirt, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't know. I would say mine would be more along the lines of understanding that I don't want to buy anything new, so I just keep it. Not that like I'm attached. Like so, I would say like my car. I can get a new car, have amazing credit, but I understand that if I pay this car off completely, I'll be able to have something better.
Yeah, your car's solid too. I feel this has got no problems. What it seems like.
That's what I'm saying. So, but at the same time, I don't know. Like it's like I had this car for so long. Why would I just get rid of it now? Why would I just get a new car for no reason?
Okay,
Yeah,
I will
feel
say
you.
this: my first car I ever got in high school, I loved it so much. Even when I bought my new truck, I kept it in my parents' driveway, and I literally was like, I'm gonna keep this for my kids because I love the car so much.
Yeah.
But the second a good deal came, I traded it for a motorcycle. I was like, bye bye birdie, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I think cars are a big one.
I think everybody can relate too. Like, for myself, I just watch the same TV shows over and over again.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like
I
The
got a couple shows.
Office,
I got a couple shows
that
like that,
you
for
just
sure.
keep going back to.
Always
Letterkenny,
Sunny.
yeah,
Yeah.
Always Sunny
Yeah,
in
The
Philadelphia.
Office.
And then they're like, "Hey, have you checked out this new show?" I'm like, "Nah, I just kind of stick to my shows." You know what I mean?
Or it's like no, it's like The Office. It's not like The Office.
Nah, it ain't like
Nah,
The Office,
it's not.
bro.
And
Don't
it's
get it
like,
twisted.
Have you seen it? Nah.
Nah.
I got
It's 2020, bro. Ain't nothing like The Office. I promise you that.
So
Bro,
this
I
shit's
think they
funny.
took it off Netflix.
They
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
It's
I was
on-
pissed, dude. I actually tried to watch that shit today on my like little break. I was like, got a TV now, got a apartment, put on The Office, and they didn't fucking have it.
I think it's either on Hulu. I know it's on Peacock.
Yeah, it's on-
No,
different
it's on
platform.
Peacock. They
Yeah.
took it Peacock. That's like their big thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Why would they do that?
Because it's NBC.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to resell it.
Fucking stupid. All right, moving on.
I actually have a question on that real quick. though.
Oh, go ahead.
Send it.
So on that same quote that we just talked about, are there any habits or behaviors that we are endowed to, but long term are a net negative for our lives?
Oh.
Yes.
Ooh.
I would say one thing that I'm trying to get out of is learning without applying. So like reading books, listening to audiobooks, and being like, I want to do that. Or not even saying I want to do that, but I know that it's there. It's almost, I always hear that quote in my head when I learn something. You are just, the person that learned something new is just as unknowing as the person that didn't act. So just because you know something and you don't apply it, you're just as uneducated as a person that doesn't know that exists.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think a habit of listening to things and reading books and not applying it is sort of like a habit that I have. I would say I recognize it in a lot of people, but I recognize it in myself. Like, and I want to.
You don't apply what you're reading?
Not to the extent that I would like, or how I envision myself. You see, like, you know,
Damn,
what I
that's
mean?
crazy
like,
because I feel like you apply a lot of the things that you read because
Yeah.
you read so much. Like,
And like I've had conversations with my mom, like with other people, like it's more the fact that I have a certain standard that I have in my head, and I don't want to say I compare myself to people I want to the level I want to be at, but I almost have to look at how they got there and
Right.
the effort they put in and how they applied the knowledge they learned. And because also learning that if you have 1,000 books, those 1,000 books there might be one book that teaches you that what those 1,000 books that teach you. So it's not
Right.
about reading quantity, it's about reading quality. So
And applying
that's-
it.
And applying it.
Right.
So I
Well,
would
I
say
mean-
that's just one habit that I could recognize off like the bat is like just applying like the majority, at least 80 to 90% of anything that I read or learn about.
How
What
would
you
you
done?
go about instituting that?
So right now, we had a discussion about wholesaling. I'm moving into the Facebook marketing and marketing things like that. I have a lot to learn, but I understand the more I apply it, like when I learn something, I need to apply it instantly because I know how my brain works. When I apply it, I'm learning a lot faster and I'm retaining that information.
Okay.
So when I watch a video or I watch a course or something, do 30-minute to an hour intervals where I learn it and then try and go apply it. If it's on Facebook, if it's contacting people, messaging people, and then go back to the course.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So
So apply some homework to yourself.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah. People be like, "Oh, what's homework for?" That's exactly what it's
Yeah.
for. Definitely. Who's next?
Go
Tough
ahead,
question.
read the-
For me, I think something that I just like doing, maybe it's a net negative, is that I know when it is the weekend, I kind of let my normal good habits fall by the wayside because I go, I deserve this. And then there's no, like, I just don't care. Like, it'll all be good by Monday.
Yeah.
And then I'll be back to my good shit, you know? But I don't know. That's what I'll say.
Okay. How would you go about instituting that change?
I don't know, because to be honest, I don't necessarily feel like maybe I'm down with it. It's like I don't want to change
I don't want to change
because I think for the most part, I'm fine, you know. But I can recognize that maybe it's a net negative, you know.
Okay.
But
So, I mean,
at least you're recognizing you're endowed to that.
yeah,
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe just a frequency thing.
I would say maybe some. Hey, this is far enough. Like this is a good vibe. You don't need to keep pushing the envelope. You know,
Okay.
This is a good time right here.
Okay.
I think something
Yeah.
me and my buddies used to always joke around with is that we're always chasing it. We always leave a good time because we're chasing the next good time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been like my whole life growing up. We're always go mode. We're always go mode. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, hey, you know what, man? I'm having a pretty good time right now at this level.
Right.
No need to go further. It would be perfect like this right here.
Yeah.
But I'm so ready to go like,
Next.
what's next?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we're already here. We got this much time left. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Yeah. I think there's pros to living like that too. You definitely get more out of life, you know what I mean? But maybe it's like specific to you that you know that you're endowed to that and that isn't so productive for you, you know what I mean?
I think what's been great for me is supplementing our weekends with going camping, like every other weekend or whatever, because it just seems just so healthy. You know, we go out. There's there's no pushing the thing. Everyone's just doing their own thing, and I think that is me finding balance, and I want to implement that more when I go home. Is maybe not go out so much and more lean on the camping side.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How about you, David?
Certain behaviors that I might be endowed to.
Would you like me to repeat it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, yeah.
Are there any habits or behaviors we are endowed to, but long term are a net negative for our lives?
The long term and negative. This thing that's like coming to my mind initially is there's this plugin that I can download for Adobe Illustrator. 'Cause I'm a graphic designer, so I use that program a lot. But when you're exporting logo files, you export them, and you have to go back and rename all of them. Unless your file's set up for that name, you have to rename all of them by color, by file type, just like what they are, stuff like that. And I saw this one plugin that would literally do all of that for me in like 5 minutes or something. So I'm thinking time-wise, that would be something I should do. But it's a form of endowment for me because sometimes I like just knocking out like 30 or 50 files and naming them like this is primary logo 1, black background, this like this.
Individually?
Yeah, I'll just be like boom because I'm a fast typer.
Yeah.
But I think that's something that I
think that falls in line with Jay with the signature at the end of the
email
emails.
thing. Yeah, I need to get on that.
Think how much time you're wasting. Maybe you could be at the gym a little bit early if you didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm giving him a hard time. He gets there on time.
Yeah, so that's one thing too, but I mean I would throw maybe drinking too much sometimes, That's like a form of endowment, I guess, like just drinking in general. Because it's like overall it's a negative for your body physically. But it's like fun, you know what I mean?
That's what I think about. It's like because I care so much about my body, right? I eat right all like Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
I have a good sleep schedule. I go to the gym every day. Like I run and I wake up early. And then it's like weekends, like fuck it. Everything, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
If I want to, eat Taco Bell at 3 a.m. Let's go.
I will say lately as I've gotten older though, I have more of like a cap, like where I'm like, I gotta, like something clicked in my brain. I don't know if it was like 22, 23 years old where I was like, I don't want to drink anymore. I'm just going to go to bed. And then I've been having that. You're like, John's like, that's crazy. I've never felt that.
That's not the David I know.
Yeah, no, for sure though. Like I know there's a point where I'm like, okay, I think around like 2 a.m.
Okay,
if it's like that time.
If we're getting to that
alright.
ballpark, that's the time people should go to sleep.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, like for sure.
Yeah. My problem is it's 4.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
So delete that.
Delete that.
All right, let's move on.
Moving on. What? You got something?
Yeah, literally the next page. I believe where we were at.
No, we haven't. We're moving into the lost version.
Yes.
That's where I was moving to.
Okay.
Yeah. I wrote down Forex because it made me think about some of the stuff that I was learning with Devin when we were learning how to trade currency. Is risking, just like managing your risk. You wouldn't risk $1 to gain $1 because if you lose, you'd be out of $1.
Yeah.
You always want to risk a smaller amount for a bigger gain.
Yeah.
It says 2.6 times larger.
Yeah. That's the ideal percentage or multiplier that you want to. That I guess the average person would settle for if someone offered you a bet. The ideal bet that you would want to take or the average person takes is 2.6 times larger than whatever you're betting against. So if you're betting $100, it probably needs to be $260 for you to be okay. I'll take that bet because I'm only going to lose $100, but I'm going to gain $260.
Right.
So how does that apply to making changes in life?
I feel like that can go really deep. As far as just the standard economics where he talks about understanding the percentage and multiplying the bet, that's hard to apply to your everyday life because you could be very analytical about something like that if you're thinking about like, oh, if I do this, then this is going to happen.
In just a general scheme, I would say maybe be smarter and more particular about the decisions you decide to make and constantly do a risk reward on it, if you want to make it into a real life scenario, maybe does 1 hour at the gym benefit you better than 1 hour watching Netflix? I would say the answer is obvious, right?
Right.
Is 1 hour reading a book better than maybe an hour at the bar? So I would say stuff like that would be 2.6 times better than the later, right?
Right. I think an interesting point he makes later in the chapter too, because what you just said is 1 hour at the gym better, keyword better, than 1 hour of Netflix.
Yes.
And he said, and I think this is true, the human condition is that we tend to focus on the negative. So to like reword that question to actually get change would be like, is 1 hour of Netflix making me lose more of a potential upside than 1 hour at the gym?
1 hour Netflix makes you less attractive than 1 hour at the gym.
So make it like instituting change will make it 2.6 times worse to do one than the other if you really wanted to appeal to a human being.
Yeah, why we wouldn't decide? Okay, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Going off of that, and I don't know necessarily how this applies to the real world, not just economics, but he talks about, and made me think of trading too, how losing $100 feels worse than winning $100.
Yeah.
It's been a new thing. I'm still learning, obviously, but sometimes I'll be up a good amount and I'll get like the fucking Greedo meter, and I want to hold because I see a bigger catch out there, and then if I would have just sold then, I would have been happy, and I'll end up losing maybe half of what I could have gained, but I'm still upset. I'm like, I'm upset, and it's literally half the number that I could have gained, but it doesn't matter. It's the fact that I'm losing it. I should just. There's like these guys I follow, and they go, simple way to be successful: sell when happy, buy when sad. It's very true, dude.
Yeah.
If you're happy enough to take a screenshot of your trades and stuff, hey bro, just sell it. You know what I'm saying? Don't fucking fuck around.
That's happened to me so many times. Just being up and being like, oh, I can make more. I can make more.
Yeah.
But then once it goes against me, I'm like, fuck, I could have made this much, but I'm still in profit. But now I'm upset. I'm like.
Yeah,
I'm still up, but I'm upset because I could have closed for more money.
I think to myself, I could have sold there, bought back into the same thing. It would have been amazing, but you just never know.
Right.
Just
Definitely.
never know.
But it does stick in my head. I could be down something, and it affects me different. If I was up the same amount, it does not affect me the same way.
Negatives, I would say for sure. I think everybody in this world, negative affects you way more than understanding the potential to gain something.
Right.
You focus on the negative. Everybody focuses on the negative.
I think going off that, I heard that we remember negative experiences better than positive ones. Like we look back at our history and we can name way more negative experiences that have affected us than great ones that have happened.
Why do you
to
think
us.
that is?
Going off the same concept, I don't know. I think when something negative happens, it tends just to shake us more. You know, it grabs our
Do you
attention
think it's
more.
a safety mechanism that's like been instilled upon us since like
Ancestral.
Maybe
it could be like
don't do that shit again.
Yeah,
you
the
know?
sense of security it faded at one point, and it scared you, or it's traumatic, and you felt the uncertainty of life. You know what I mean? Depending on what it was, but if it's losing a lot of money, if it's being close to like death, like
It can literally be anything.
Yeah.
Like
it could literally be
an
anything.
argument.
Yeah.
Getting hurt. Yeah.
You might not want to be confrontational anymore because that was like very uncomfortable. And so
it was interesting. Me and Sadie were playing that We're Not Really Strangers game last night. She pulled this card that said, "What's the most pain you've ever felt that wasn't physical?"
Oh, I got that card last time. I hate that.
Yeah, it was crazy, but it was crazy how clear it was looking back. I was like, I remember everything, you know, and that's like kind of speaking to what we're talking about now is that you do remember those things, and I think it might be sort of like a
I'll take
safety mechanism.
I'll take physical pain over emotional pain any day.
Yeah.
I've only felt really for real emotional pain once in my life, and that shit drags on. It's like a ghost in your body.
Yeah.
Physical pain, I can like walk around. I had stitched my hands for so long. I was like, that shit don't even matter to me.
Yeah.
Bro.
A couple of points.
Okay.
Like if you think about YouTube, right? On YouTube, if you have a negative title, right, versus a positive title, which one's going to have more views?
negative one.
The negative one, right? I mean, you look at the news cycle,
The thumbnails.
what are we getting pumped with?
Yeah, clickbait.
Negative
it's all
stuff.
negative stuff. Yeah.
Right? But I think the reasoning for that is ancestral knowledge, right? Because it's like you remember the negatives so you don't repeat the same behavior. I don't fuck with snakes because I saw Jimmy John get bit by one and die. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
It's just ancestral based on how humans learned and moved forward and brought order to chaos. Is okay, that was negative. Let me avoid that at all costs.
I could agree with that.
I've had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane.
Facts. Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people don't realize that, but there's like an ancestral primal brain that we think with, and
That's what it says, dude.
but it's like it's what it is.
Primal brain.
Yeah.
Do you think the 2.6 times like the betting or the potential loss to potential gain applies to the same memory mechanism when it comes to remembering why we remember negative thoughts compared to positive ones? Like our positive ones need to be 2 times 6 times larger than whatever negative happened to us.
I think that goes off the endowment thing where we do just, even if we do it subconsciously, we do a cost-based analysis on something. Is it going to cost me more to do this, or am I better off just what I have and not risking the cost I see in front of me? And if it's not greater than the 2.6, we're like, better off just not doing it. It doesn't seem worth it to me.
Right.
In general, I think if everybody performed in that, like if everybody had that mental state of being,
We'd have great people in front
we
of us.
would have fucking amazing people in
We'd
this
have great
world.
people in front of us.
So I think a majority of people just lack self-control, like in self-discipline.
If you look,
Self-discipline.
if you looked back on your life, on the integral parts that helped create the character that you have now, are they more negative or more positive thoughts?
Negative.
Memories?
I would say negative for me.
Really?
I would say positive.
Okay.
I would say positive, yeah.
How about you?
That helped shape me?
Yeah, so if you look back on integral moments in your life that helped shape the character that you have now, would they be primarily negative or more abundance of positive?
I would say negative. Like the negative things, it sort of brought me back down to like a very surface level of myself, and I had to take a deep dive into myself to find or tap into the tools that I already had within myself to figure it out.
Okay. I understand what you're saying, but just if you just do a total span of your life,
Right.
not the most significant thing where you're like,
Right.
this is why I'm right here, right now, because this happened. Just
Right.
you look back in your life, you're saying more negative things happened to you, which shaped David, or do you think the positive things had a bigger impact on you?
No, I'm not saying I had an abundance of negative things.
That's not the question. I just feel like you're taking it as maybe I'm interpreting it wrong.
Right. If there was 100 things that helped develop you into who you are now, would 51 of them be positive or would 51 of them be negative?
Okay. Yeah.
Negative for me.
Okay.
Would you be willing
I
to
would
share
say
one?
negative.
Yeah.
Okay. Just the way I heard you, I was like, I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So even being younger, understanding, seeing what my mom had to go through as a child, you know what I mean? Not having a dad around, being around men and wanting she wasn't looking for a father figure for us, but she was looking for someone to be with.
Right.
And there was a lot of shit men in her life, and also having to raise 2 kids while working full time, while we were going to school.
Right.
And it was almost like we had to become adults a little bit faster, but also like I wanted to be a child, and so I would act reckless and not really give a fuck about anything, and like, you know what I mean? Because it's like I don't really have someone like my mom was there, but she had to be at work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
At the time.
how many hats can one person wear?
And so it shaped me in the conversations my mom would have, like money doesn't grow on trees, thinking that you have to work your whole life to develop anything in life.
That's like old fashioned. I hate that.
Yeah, and then so to me, I see that as a negative because you look at people that are 18 becoming millionaires overnight and stuff, and it's like, why are people that were our parents' age when we were young working until they died and never became anything, like never gathered enough resources to provide for like their whole family.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And now that I'm older, I'm like, the negative things actually shape why I'm educating myself, why I'm in the gym, why I don't want to eat fast food, why, because I've seen a lot of negative stuff. So now it's like, okay, it makes sense on why I want to lean into the positive things that are better for my body, better for my mind, better for my education, because I've seen the bad stuff already and I don't want it.
Yeah, a big driver for me, bro, like why I wanted to be really, I guess like fit and like and really push myself, because for my childhood, I used to get made fun of all the time for being like super skinny and being like just like the weakest person in the room or whatever. And I think that's an example of majority of my life has been good, I would say. But the things that I maybe I felt insecure about it, or it was like you look in the mirror and you're like, fuck, I don't want, like, I'm going to put in the work to get where I want to be or how I want to look or whatever. That's one thing for me. I always, like, remember when I look in the mirror and see myself now how I look, it's like a reminder. It's like, okay, you don't have to fucking deal with that shit anymore.
I think you've come a long way in the gym. I think you're looking like an athlete now. I think I told you that the other day.
Shoulders getting big.
Going off on that note, it's funny, you brought up the getting made fun of. And I did used to get made fun of when I was like a younger kid. But when I think back to the memories that helped shape me, I grew up in this neighborhood with the best friends anyone could ask for. We had like the dopest childhood. I felt like we did shit that most kids didn't. I think like I had great teachers in my life that really took a liking to me and helped grow me because I saw something at work. Because I started working when I was younger. I'd always had great mentors as bosses. They saw something and they would treat me different, and gave me a shot. And everyone that's always given me a shot, it like has just filled me up. And like now that I'm trying to be more, that's why I try to do stuff for people, because like I want to be that person for me because I felt like a cup being filled up. I had a lot of outlets in my life where people were like, hey, you can do something, and they didn't treat me like, even when I was a dishwasher, they didn't treat me like a normal dishwasher. They saw something and they immediately tried to move me up, to like being in the kitchen. And like, it was a nice place. And just at school and stuff like that. I feel like I had a great family that looked out for me, normal parents with like normal guidelines, the rest of my family. So I think that's what helped shape me is that you can have an impact on other people.
Mm. Definitely.
Interesting. It's interesting to see sort of like the difference.
Right.
I think that's our paradigm.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's interesting because I'd agree with John. The most impactful moments of my life were positive. That's not to say I didn't live through negative things that helped me develop character, but
100%. I agree with you. Yeah, totally.
And when I look back on my life and I'm like, okay, what are the reasons for me being who I am today? I think a lot of it was positive reinforcement or positive impact moment. So it's interesting because it's two positives and two negatives. What you guys between in this group,
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see the difference. And when you look back on it, I feel like I can remember the negative moments a lot more clear, right? But the positive ones made the biggest impact.
I would agree.
Right. Like teachers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Big impact on my life. And family. So it's interesting to see the difference in paradigms.
Even my welding teacher who recommended me for this job I'm about to get. I applied to a lot of scholarships and I didn't get shit, but Putman secured me. It was only $1,000, but still, like, he did that for me.
Right.
Out of all the other students he had, because he was like, "You deserve the most." I was like, thank you. I'm trying.
Big impact, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So two things here on page 68, top says, whenever people think about changing, they compare things to their current state, the status quo. And if the potential gains barely outweigh the potential losses, they do not budge. And then moving to 69. So how do we ease endowment? Two key ways are to surface the cost of inaction and to burn the ships. And so these are the routes to change, to addressing endowment that Jonah Berger proposes. So what did you guys think, and which one seemed the most attractive to you?
Surface the cost of inaction.
Wait. What page is this?
This is page 69, right before surface the cost of inaction.
69.
And so which one stood out to
When
you
you talk about
most?
burns the ships?
It's like and then it bleeds into the next
okay.
subheadings.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep. Cost of inaction for sure. That's what I try and not overtly show people, like, yo, if you don't do this, you're gonna look like this, like, or if you keep doing this is gonna happen to you, or whatever. But I think I try and ask strategic questions to make them see or find the answer for themselves, So that speaks to my purpose, because I want to empower other people around me, and this is like another tactic for me that I can learn from. So that's why I like this book a lot.
Yeah.
Because it talks about, surfacing and I've never thought about reverse engineering, like, in this passion.
Right,
Gotcha.
right.
Yeah, I would agree with David. I think surfacing in action, recognizing that if I sit here and do the same thing while I'm not taking action, I can apply it to the not apply, like learning and not applying. My actions, the knowledge that I'm acquiring, isn't speaking towards the action. They're not working in sync. So I'm not acting. Just because I know information doesn't make me better off than someone that doesn't know it. I have to act on it.
Right.
So I agree with that. Yeah. Because to me, burning the ships is like cold turkeying thing, and me personally, it's never worked in my life. I've never been able to cut something out of my life and not revert back to it or not go back to it. It's just never worked for me. I know a lot of people it's worked for, but I've always gradually progressed out of something.
Right.
Well, I think the burning the ship. I think are you speaking about like maybe giving up alcohol or drugs?
Everything.
I think the burn the ships metaphor, and correct me if I'm wrong, is like just you're literally put in a position to where you just can't do it anymore. Right? Is that how that works?
Well, you have to make you decide.
You make the decision. It's like I can no longer go back because I've taken away the possibility of going back.
Right.
Like if you don't like a place you're working, you're a shithole on your last day when you quit. Instead of leaving a 2-week notice, like a gentleman.
Right.
That way, if you want to come back, we would welcome you back with open arms.
Right.
You're like, fuck you, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying?
You're cool.
That'd be burning the ships.
A week later, hey guys.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Y'all
Fuck
hiring?
you.
Yeah.
You're cool.
I'd say, hey guys, that job didn't work out. Like y'all still hiring?
Y'all still hiring?
So,
Huh. Yeah, I thought that one was interesting. Burning the ships. I've heard the story about that guy before who got sent basically to Mexico from Cuba.
I love that shit. To me, that shit big dick energy. It's like I'm gonna handle it. There's no going back.
Could you imagine being in like the war, like the stuff that they're talking about, where you're on like a fucking army, and then someone's like, "Hey, yo, they burned the ship, so we gotta go to war."
But imagine the commitment that demands.
That's what I'm saying. I almost like it. And off your question, I think it's what the situation calls for.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, on the situation.
I do feel with you guys on the surface costs of inaction, because above in 69 it says the potential cost of regret for making the wrong choice. I feel that a lot, you know? So, of course, you know, the cost of inaction affects you. But sometimes I think the situation calls for just burning the ships, like no going back. Sometimes maybe in a relationship, you know?
Right.
You're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to burn the bridge, only forward from here, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Maybe at a job, you know, that you don't like, they treated you wrong. So it all depends.
Yeah. Situational. Yeah, definitely. I thought it was really interesting though, and the most like if you're a warrior, I could see that. You know what I mean? How it's like, oh, okay, well now if I was like 75 committed, now I have to be 100% committed because there's no other option.
There's no other option. I like that because sometimes you just need that.
I'm not swimming back to Europe. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not happening. It's not happening. You know? I think that what type of situation would you apply that in your life? Just give me one.
Well,
Burning the ships?
Yeah, just burning the ship.
I would say just a past event is me coming here. Like when I came here, I threw away like 75% of my shit. I like sold my house and I moved across the country. And I was like, for me to do all that again, it's a big commitment. So I was like, I'm pretty much stuck here. I got to make it work out. You know what I'm saying? So that was me burning the ships.
Burned your own ship.
I burned my own ship.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Purpose, motherfucker.
and it made me commit. Things were fucking rough. And I was like, there's no going back.
There is no going back.
You know?
Yeah. And I think Jeremy's actually someone who kind of like put me onto that, maybe in like a lesser form. Sometimes, you know, because when I was dealing with my past relationship, I had to burn the ship, and he told me, I'll never forget, he was like, don't give yourself too much time to think about it. He's like, if it's something that you know and your gut's telling you just have to tell yourself, you know, fucking do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, you like really do it. Like don't question yourself, because if you're in that area for a long time, you're kind of vulnerable to be manipulated, persuaded, and whatnot. But I think that was like a cool metaphor that he showed me. That's pretty sick.
I think that's a good way to handle most situations.
Yeah.
If I find myself, I mean, you guys know me. If I linger too much, I feel like it's when I make the wrong decision.
Yeah. I think something that men don't really get to is you really need to follow your intuition. Yeah. Like your gut is telling you something for a reason. Think about it, but don't like overthink about it, because like David said, that leaves you open to manipulation or persuasion to lean the other way, and you don't know what the other person's trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And so like I think a lot of things with these young men including myself, is like you feel a gut intuition and you're just kind of like, maybe I'll just wait a couple of days, and then the intuition, the level of it, if it's at a 10 when you feel it initially, starts coming down.
Yeah, totally.
Go with your gut, analyze it, and see if it's a good decision, but your gut's telling you something, and you need to make that change. So I would say listen to your intuition, young man.
Amen.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I would say that even with trading, sometimes I get this gut feeling that this is where I should slap.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I like pussyfoot around and I won't slap it, and I watch it go. I go, I had that like gut feeling that this was the right move, right? So recently I've been more patient, but when I see something, I'm like, okay, I'm slapping this shit.
Yeah.
Just have faith for that initial feeling. When I saw the layout, I go, this is it. I gotta take a shot.
Yeah, definitely. And if it doesn't end up successful, take the time when you're on your ass to process why.
Yeah.
There's steps to your journey, and I think a lot of people just kind of let things pass and don't process what you could have really learned from the lesson, because that's what it is. God's providing you a lesson to learn from, and if you don't take the time to process it, then what are you really doing?
Yeah, definitely.
Bars.
Definitely bars. I have something that I want to talk about on page 70, where he talks about the MBAs helping a beer company
I like this.
figure out how to divert their fan base, or their loyal fan base, and keep their loyal fan base while expanding their. I just want to talk about the thinking about the risk of doing nothing. And he says the potentials that the NBA spend a lot of time thinking about the potential dangers of making a change. They tend to spend less time thinking about something equally important, the risk of doing nothing. And then I'm going to skip down a little bit. He says, so doing nothing doesn't mean nothing bad happens. It means the company slowly but surely disappears into oblivion.
Yeah.
And so I think about, this is how I think about a lot of shit in my life. We've discussed it probably in the beginning of our kind of like our book club thing, of how we're always trying to expand and get out of our comfort zones.
Okay.
That's how I identify my comfort zone, is friend groups, habits, anything. If I'm comfortable doing the same thing, or if I catch myself doing the same thing over and over again, I will almost cold turkey it, because I'm leaning into that thing where, oh, I like this. This is comfortable.
Right.
We do this every weekend, or we do this every week. We go here every day, or I eat that at the same place, and I know what I want. Rather than challenging myself and go finding something new, I'm setting myself up to become this like never moving or elevating line that's just moving in the same path because it's comfortable.
Constant.
And then I'm usually, we're going to just disappear into oblivion.
Right.
We're just going to become this floating person that's just like, where did my life go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the people that have the most exciting time in life, that can really feel like, oh, damn, I really are the people that live on the edge, that like push themselves to feel uncomfortable all the time.
Right. I think that's where a lot of people get it twisted too. Like, oh, retirement, I'm just going to chill on the beach. It's like, no, that's exactly when your health starts declining. That's exactly when your mental faculties start declining.
Isn't that what's so sad too?
Yeah.
So like, what was the point?
I think that's what's so admirable about Waka, is like, he's 62. He could be retired. You know what I mean? But he enjoys the love of the game. He enjoys working out.
A lot of people are like that. Like my grandpa, he's I don't know, like 88 or something, and he still works every day because he's like, if I would stop working, I think I would just die.
Yeah, what would I do?
Right.
Like,
And he owns his own company, so it's not like he's like clocking in, But he wakes up and he goes checks on some things, and and he's like, if I didn't do this, I think I'll just wither away because there'd be no reason for me to wake up anymore.
That makes me think of my grandparents. My grandpa Juan, he's pretty old, and he's got like a knee replacement, like hip problems, just like whole bunch of stuff going on. Like his health's great, but he literally loves walking. Like he wakes up, does like his little routine, he still does yard work and stuff.
Great.
And I think that honestly is keeping them alive.
Yeah.
And they don't want to go to a retirement home. And now thinking about it, it's like I get why they don't, because it's like, what are they gonna?
Dude, they go in there. I've seen it firsthand. That's the beginning of the end. And if anything, it gets fast. It gets accelerated.
Yeah. I think they literally draw life and get like that energy going, because like they still do have a house. They get to do these things, and they're like having family over now. The pandemic's over. It's just bringing more energy back into their life.
Reason to keep going.
That reminds me of in the last chapter when he talks about the two groups in the elderly home.
Yeah.
And how one's got choice and one doesn't.
Right.
The one who doesn't have choice, they die.
Double the rate.
Double the rate.
Yeah.
That's exactly why. You know?
Right.
Your grandparents still have a choice, like what they're going to eat in the morning, what he's going to do for the day.
Right.
He still feels
what am
like
I
he's
going to
in
work
control.
on in the yard today?
Yeah.
Yeah, something. Yeah, man.
So I guess I would ask a question on that, like
Okay.
the risk of doing nothing. How do you if you guys do avoid doing nothing, what does that look like? Like, how do you recognize that you're not doing nothing?
How do you recognize that you're not doing nothing?
Yeah, that you're you're in a mind.
How do you recognize you're in a state of inaction?
Yeah, that you're like, I'm fucking bored, or I'm driving myself crazy, or what? How do you identify that within yourself?
I can't explain it, but sometimes there's just a feeling like I'm like, I want to do something, but I feel like I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Can I just bring something up regarding you? And I think, okay, just because you've lived here your whole life, you're pretty comfortable with what to do around here, etc. Since I've gotten here, I've only been here, I think it's a year and 6 months now. I've loved the Start Around Bistro. And since I met David, he'd always told me he was never really a big fan of it. And then since I've known you, we've never gone together, right?
Yeah.
We went last weekend and everybody was like, yo, this was sick, you know? And it's because it was just, because you're from here, you're comfortable with your last experience maybe didn't hit or whatever. And you're like, no need to try that. I already know what I want to get. But you went and it was a net positive, you know?
True.
And just talking about this, it popped up in my head a while ago and I just wanted to bring it up, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Because I was like, and because I'm new here, I like trying new things because I'm like, what is Fresno about, you know? But because you guys have been here, you're like, look, this is what's good, this is what's not good.
Right.
But because I'm new, I'm coming in very open-minded. There's no backstory to anything, you know?
Right,
so
right.
anything could be good to me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Interesting.
and-
Or even when we went out to LA, there's a designate. It was either Laguna or this place, and Sadie and Lex were like, "You don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Let's do there."
Ex-
You're gonna have a bad time actually if
Yeah.
you go here.
but then if I go because I have no context, or any of us really, we're like,
fun.
hey, this is fun, this is sweet,
go,
this is
yeah.
new, this is awesome, you know?
Interesting.
For myself, how I notice it in myself is when I typically feel unproductive and I'm in a state of inaction, I typically dip into this pleasure-centered brain where I start chasing fun things to do. And it's a never-ending cycle. So it'd be like, okay, I want to go camping today. For the next 3 days, I want to get back. Then I'm going to go do another thing. Then I'm going to go do another thing. All pleasure-centered. That's how I notice it in myself. Is when I get into this funk, I feel it hey, I need to do something. But instead of hey, I need to work towards school, or I need to work towards work or whatever it might be, I dip into this whole pleasure-centered brain.
Leisure time.
And do you think that's unhealthy?
In moderation, I think it's healthy. I
a
think
certain
if you're doing something every single weekend or doing something multiple times a week, then it's unhealthy personally. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I just not going out.
Yeah, I've
As
noticed,
much.
of course.
Because it's for myself, it got to the point where it was I wasn't enjoying it anymore.
Yeah, I can see.
I wasn't enjoying Tower anymore. I wasn't enjoying, drinking and just doing the same thing every Friday night or Saturday night. And so I hey, maybe instead of doing that, I'm going to stay in and read some scientific literature or something. Yeah. Just a switch of pace, because it's how great is sunshine without rain? You know what I'm saying? It's how great is going out if you go out every single week?
Well, that's why I probed, because I think out of all of us, you're the best about being studious or moderate with the pleasure center aspect of life.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, when do you feel like you're slipping? Because right.
Because there was a while there, when we were going to Tower every weekend, and I'm looking at my bank account, I'm look, I don't have too much income coming in. It's
I understand that.
Yeah.
That was also an incentive to be hey, look, maybe you should dial down the slider just a tad, even if, and it's been beneficial because I've gotten okay, I'll be at home and I'm oh, I know the guys are out doing something, I could be doing something, and I feel in this little rut. And I'm you know what? Tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go to the school now that they're allowing me access into the buildings.
Yeah.
So it's okay, I'm going to go to school and sit at the desk like this in the classroom, and just being there and being like, okay, there's a whiteboard in front of me. I have access to the microscopes and any resources I need and people that I need.
That's like, yeah, okay.
It kicked me into gear to being like, okay, now it's hustle mode, you know? And so
Hell yeah.
it's been refreshing. And now I started a job over there. Just, you know, it's something simple as a student assistant, just doing little things around the campus.
But
it's like,
getting your foot in the door too, because I mean, long term, what you talked about is, you know.
yeah, definitely.
So.
And literally a lot of people there are starting to get to retirement age. So they're going to need people to come in and supplement,
Yep.
you know? And so, you know, I've just, you know, maybe I should dip my toe in that.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've just been. So for myself, just coming back to that question, was like when I notice myself being too pleasure centered, that's how I know I'm being in a mode of inaction.
Yeah, that's
Gotcha.
a very good one.
You two are both really good about drawing the line. About even you're like, I'm not gonna go out tonight.
Yeah.
You know,
It's tough.
And I know you want to too. You're like,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
tonight. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't honestly. I can't like pin. I think you put it pretty good though. Like that's. I guess I would identify with that too. Is like when I lean into like inaction, or if I feel like I'm not doing anything, I lean into leisure because it feels like I'm doing something, but I'm not productive.
Right.
It's just like my body's moving and I'm having fun, and then when I go to sleep or I gotta do, and I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta work. Like, oh,
Right.
I gotta do this. Like now I don't want to, and I'm like, nope, I'm just gonna lean into leisure time some more.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
And so that keeps me like not wanting to lean into it so much and kind of just break it off for a period of time and then go back into it. Like
Right.
camping is a perfect like mediation to where I
Right.
can like camp like once a month and then go out like maybe twice a month and then go camping next month. So it gives it a good like bouncing balance. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's like a really good. I like the leisure.
I kind of learned about that with 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but one of the biggest things is like my mom's all about this Enneagram thing. Like everybody has
Oh,
a
yeah.
personality style, right? 1 through 9.
Mine's 8.
I want to do one of those.
Yeah,
What is
I'll
that?
send you the link. And so there's a test, right? You have 1 through 7. 7 is, you know, Jeremy's a 7, outgoing person, loves doing things in the outdoors, wants to pursue pleasure. When he's in a bad state, personally, I'm not going to say him because I can only speak for myself. When I'm in a bad state, I'm in a perfectionist mindset, right? So where I have to make things perfect. Like at the end of my semester, I was kind of in a tough place. I sent in a rough draft to my teacher. He's like, oh yeah, this is an A paper already, but here, these are things you can work on. And I'm talking to my mom about it. She's like, oh, then why are you working on it? I'm like, it can be better. It can be better. You know, it can always be better. I can never stop improving, you know? And so I get into this perfectionist mindset.
Small mentality.
Right, literally. And I have it written on my board, my whiteboard. I have it written on my mat board. I have it written on my other whiteboard. It's like, these are things that, I catch myself in. But like when I'm in a good place, I tend to get into like this helper mode. Right. And so I'll send you guys the links, and I have the books and stuff. My mom can get them for free. And so
Send the link. I'm interested.
yeah, and I learned a lot about myself through that. Yes, it's like personality types and stuff like that, but it's not like zodiac bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, yes, like there's some things like, yes, I'm born under the October moon and I have a rising sign and like that stuff. Okay.
Pomeranian rising.
Yeah, Pomeranian rising. Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff behind it that if you want to apply it to your life, go ahead. But I don't believe in that because personally, I like science-based stuff. As a scientist, that's what I like.
It's because you believe in science.
It's because I believe in science, you know? And so these guys ran studies, years and years of psychology studies. This guy has a PhD in this stuff. They do this stuff. Just like Carol S. Dweck, mindset, fixed versus growth mindset. These are studies that are done. You know what I mean? These are things that are applied in a certain way through studies.
be
They're not the
proven.
stars
Yeah.
and what I feel like today based on horoscopes,
Yeah.
you know? And so, yeah, I learned a lot through that. I would share that.
David, for the question,
Yeah.
have you answered?
Yeah, I kind of just said that there was like a feeling that I get
Oh,
where I feel
oh,
like
my bad.
I just feel like I don't know what to do. That's like I'm like I have time in front of me. I'm just watching it go, and I'm like, fuck, should I like work on art? Should I play guitar? Should I go skate? Like what the fuck should I do right now?
Right.
That's a feeling that I get, and I know that I'm not. It usually ends up with me not knowing where my priority is for that day or something, and then it takes me legit like for me to get out of that mode. I'm like, what do I actually need to do right now? That's like knowing the urgency to things, like on the 7 habits.
Right.
That's a big identifying factor for me when I can write it down and be like, how important is this? Or how
Quadrants.
crucial is this?
Yeah.
And then I'll kind of like restructure it, and then I'm like, okay, those are the things I was not acting upon because I was just kind of procrastinating.
Gotcha.
You know? And because sometimes I'll be in that mode when I feel like I procrastinated so much that it got me to that point, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck am I doing? And then I have to write it down again. And then usually when I know what I'm doing, I don't get that feeling, and I get to enjoy doing a lot of things. Like even going out feels good to me because I know I put in work through the week and I got my priorities done and I got shit done. Just going out all the time, honestly, just it's not fun.
Yeah, you're not that guy.
I'm not that guy.
Did you share your experience?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I apologize.
No worries.
When I get the feeling that I'm being inactive,
Yeah, it feels like the risk of doing nothing.
I can tell. I want to speak for John. But
say it. Go. Tell me what you think.
I feel like you get frustrated when you're not doing something. Maybe it could be just like the weekends thing too, but you're like, okay, what are we doing, guys? Like, what's it? Because you want to know what we're doing. Because I feel like that's your source of inaction is when you're not just doing something with your time.
I totally need to be doing something all the time, and I would say prior to getting ACE, if I ever had a moment of free time, I would go do something like physical fitness wise. I'd go run, go to the gym. Even if I've already been, I was like, I'm getting this weird feeling. I need to go do something, and I'd go to the gym. Now that I have ACE, anytime I feel even an itch of boredom, and if we're not doing anything, I just go do something with Ace. Whether it's go to the dog park, take him for a walk, do something with him.
Yeah, you usually do that. You'll be like, all right, you guys do this. I'm going to go take Ace for a walk or something.
Yeah.
You do that multiple times.
Yeah. So I think, and it doesn't really even get me in one direction or not, but I feel like for the most part, my weekdays, I'm such a routine guy that I know I have everything handled. I know what I'm shooting for. I work for the most time. So if I see time slipping away, I just go, it's time I can give back to Ace. I don't think it propels me in a direction. If I have inaction, Ace.
Okay. Hell yeah. That was a good question, man. That was really good.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, just kind of going off the first, what is it? Action towards getting people to address their endowment. It talks about, surface the cost of inaction. And so on page 74, I have a quote. It says, whenever the status quo is okay but not stellar, or mediocre but not terrible, change doesn't seem worth the effort because the current state of things doesn't seem that bad. And so this kind of made me, this was all around the email signature thing and actually brought to my attention that I needed to do that. Is there anywhere in your life right now that you have a status quo, but I mean, it's not stellar, it's mediocre, it's not terrible,
Is that
you would like to change?
kind of like terrible things get replaced, but mediocre things stick around?
Right, and that's
Okay.
kind of where he's talking about, would you rather have the achy pain like a trick knee, or would you rather have a shattered knee?
Did you guys do that?
Yeah, it was
Is that right here?
a doorbell.
It's this one right here, though.
Pause
We
it.
don't have a doorbell on that side.
You want to pause it?
You think they're like, ask the question, what are we keeping around anything mediocre?
Anything mediocre.
Terrible things get replaced. Mediocre things stick around.
Right.
I want to say my income, cause like I want to be able to make more income if it's my because one thing that I don't want to live with is falling out of becoming an entrepreneur and going back and settling for a career. That's one thing that I feel like I will regret for the rest of my life. And so it's not stellar. I feel like it is a little bit of mediocre because I'm still relying on like DoorDash, and sometimes I think like maybe
sick.
I do need to burn the bridges and be like, bro, I need to go 100% into fucking wholesaling or 100% into trading and try and get funded from a program or something. But I would say that's probably like the thing I think about the most is sort of my income. It's like, I feel like that's probably a little bit mediocre.
On the trading thing, because I'm similar with you on that note, and a lot of the people, it's the biggest jump when they try to do it full time, is that's what makes or break them. If you want to do that, I would say, why do you need to be backed financially by some broker? If you can get to a point where you have enough in your account where you feel comfortable, then you can do it on your own, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I would say that would be like the benchmark, being like,
Yeah.
I think I can do this.
I think my how I'm identifying is if I have at least 6 to 12 months of living through my account, like I could pull from it every single month and live off of it, then I'd be like, okay, I can live off my trading account.
Yeah.
But until that point, then like I feel like I'm solid though. My education's fucking phenomenal. I think I I think my mediocreness comes from building my business.
Okay.
Not essentially, because I would say like my training fields were pretty good, but I'm not living off of it yet.
Right
I
on.
feel like that time's coming. It's,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? There's only a certain amount of time before like I can like really live off of it. But I think it's being able to build businesses correctly, and that's what we were discussing earlier today is like building our big business structure. Because yeah, we're doing like little small wholesale deals now. But what happens when we want to get into multifamily or rehabs or fix and flips? How do we pay out? How do we pay each other? Right now we can divide it because it's a lump sum. But what if we have cash flow? How do we pay each other? How do we pay through the company? So it's a lot of just big business structure stuff that we're trying to figure out because we're thinking long term.
Gotcha.
And so that's sort of like a mediocre thing that I need to work on or working on.
Okay.
For myself, one mediocre thing that I'm working on is making the change from being a student to being a scientist, because like as an undergraduate, you're provided a
Hard flex.
you're provided, okay, here is our curriculum, do it. You know what I mean? Study what you have to do to just get through this.
Yeah.
And now the difference is, okay, now you choose what you're going to study. You choose what you're going to read. You choose what you're going to, whatever's pertaining to your thesis, it's all on you. You have to be a self-starter. And so being, changing from, okay, I have a deadline. I have to kind of I have to achieve these, boom, 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 A, B, C, D, E. To, okay, I don't have a deadline. I want to get this done in 2 to 3 years. But applying and being a self-starter of like, okay, what scientific literature do I need to better understand my thesis concept? Okay, well, who should I talk to? Network. Who do I need to meet and become closer with? And so addressing that is probably one of the biggest things currently in my life, and change-wise from mediocre to, being the
next level.
the accelerated and more developed version of a scientist that I could be.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's hard. That sounds fucking hard.
It is.
That making that like next level step, because it's like, it's not. I guess it's a ginormous step, but at the same time, it's like a progressive step. Like there's a million baby steps in that one big massive step.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So.
It's a lot. I love it though. How about you, David?
Yeah, I always go last, and I'm like my mind goes everywhere.
No, John, you.
I haven't gone yet. No.
Oh no, okay. I guess something mediocre in my life. That was a question, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That you're keeping, where maybe you could be, it's mediocre. You could have better, but you're comfortable with it.
Might sound kind of crazy, but I already kind of get that comfortability feeling with my job right now. It's like,
Okay.
I'm comfortable.
Yeah.
But I mean, granted, I haven't really been working there that long, and it's like I'm used to this routine, but I just want to feel like I'm learning constantly. And sometimes I get to the point where I'm just like, when do I get to, like, what's the next thing, Something like that. So.
Get that director position.
Hey.
That'd be learning.
That'd be dope.
That'd be learning. Speaking on that. Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Uh-huh.
So I get, and it's not to say that it's mediocre at all. It's just that I know my potential is pretty. I have a lot that I could do if I really just fucking keep. I'm doing good right now, but I want more from out of myself. I want to defeat like whatever I think is my cap for this. I never thought maybe I could even be talking to, another company or whatever.
Yeah.
People would be like, "Oh, well, take this out." I've never been in that position, so it's like, well, shit. Like, how far could I go up this fucking ladder? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, shit.
And I mean, be proud of yourself. When I first met you, you were working at BJ's, and then after that, you were scanning people's temperatures outside of
I forget.
at a hospital.
I
And like,
remember that.
and now you're debating if you should switch firms to be a graphic designer. So
Right.
be proud of yourself.
Yeah, man, that's admirable.
Yeah. So
It's come a long way.
How about you, John?
kind of crazy.
I think for me, my trading would be mediocre. I could do more. Recently, I have been waking up early and like checking pre-market like I should. I haven't been doing as much DD, even though I want to. Maybe if I just applied myself a little bit more, I could see way more gain. So even though I think I'm doing all right, but a lot of it comes to luck, you know? Even like there's an initial feeling and data that I saw I should go into it, but I mean, there's always a little bit of luck into the mix. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would like to be more consistent. I think right now I'm doing okay. It'd be mediocre. I think it'd be life-changing if I could become good or great at it.
Okay. Nice. All right. Just to kind of wrap up, bring up the cost of inaction. On page 77, he's just a couple of quotes, a couple bullet points. It says, to change minds and ease endowments, catalysts surface the cost of inaction. They make it easier for people to see the difference between what they are doing now and what they could be doing. Catalysts do the opposite. They highlight how much people are losing by doing nothing.
Yeah.
Seeing how much time or money is being lost is more motivating than seeing how much could have been gained. And so just that, I just wanted to wrap up surfacing the cost of inaction.
Okay.
I think it's a really interesting point. Just like if you were, I have people in my life that are like, how are you doing this? How you doing so well? And like, that's not trying to brag or anything like that. It's like, oh yeah, like I've really gained a lot from reading these books.
Sure.
0 people have picked up the books, right? And so it's like maybe changing my my angle to like, you're kind of missing out on, developing your character or developing yourself to be a better future you by missing out on these books. I don't know how I'm going to put it. I don't know how, I'm going to orchestrate that, but, just maybe pointing out what they're losing versus what they're going to gain.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Would you say it's like a healthy form of creating FOMO within people?
What's FOMO?
Fear of missing out.
Oh, it's a healthy way?
Yeah, because usually like people throw FOMO like, oh fuck, I have FOMO right now. It's like a negative thing.
Yeah.
But almost in this way, I wrote like a question to myself, like, is this concept sort of saying create that feeling within someone, but like sort of in a healthy way, like like you're missing out on your potential, or like that sounds kind of weird sometimes saying like,
I do that shit to friends sometimes. Maybe not necessarily you guys, because I think we're all like in the same boat, So
yeah,
it's hard to, what are we missing out on? But
yeah,
friends back home, I do that. Like, you got so much potential. Why are you wasting it?
Yeah, to me, when I hear FOMO, I hear fear of missing out on gain. I don't hear a negative thing, because you're not missing out on something negative. You wouldn't.
But it's thrown in a negative tone, though, right? It's like,
I would say it's thrown in a
I
negative tone.
have FOMO.
Okay, at least in the trading community, people are like, oh, wait for the FOMO buyers. That means there are people buying because they're afraid to miss out, but they're already too late, you know?
Yeah.
Because like you were in earlier. But I think I would say the word's got a negative connotation to it.
That's what I'm saying.
Because you feel like you're missing out, or that you already did miss out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it
pushes people.
Igniting that in somebody.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Yeah, because it's like, oh yeah, you can gain this much from reading books.
Like, you don't want to miss out.
Yeah.
Don't miss out. You might miss out if you keep. Don't.
But you. Hey. But you're going to
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a healthy way to do that, Yeah, definitely. So the next, go for it.
I just have one thing that I want to talk about. Other stuff is kind of like small. But he says the benefit of change, however, tend to take longer to happen. You don't get the enjoyment from the book. Like, it's funny how you mentioned the book and nobody picks up the book. Like,
right. People
don't pick up stuff because he says right here, people are impatient. Everyone is impatient. We want things fast and we want stuff now. The benefit of change, however, takes longer to happen. You start reading, you often don't see the benefits of a new program until weeks or months after it finally gets up and running.
Right.
He labels it cost benefit timing gap.
Yeah.
So I think everybody recognizes that exists. You're not going to just pick up something and start your business right away and be making $1 million. Like,
right.
If that was the case, everybody would be doing it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, trading's the same way. Learning a skill set like graphic design, going to school for job, like everything takes time.
Right.
And some people I think are so afraid of that change. Not afraid, but just don't want to put the time in because it's going to take forever.
Yeah.
They're not going to see results right away, so they just won't do it. And so change never comes, but they would like for change to come, but they don't want to spend the time to take that change, to take that action.
I agree. I mean, what else are you going to do with that time? I'll wait.
Yeah. So
TikTok, duh.
Yeah, exactly.
TikTok.
So what? In 2 years, when you could have got a degree, you're what? you're fluent in TikTok speak. Like, come on, bro.
You know, I see a lot of people wasting their time just smoking weed, you know?
Yeah, it used to be me.
And, you know, weed, hey, you know what? Weed's pretty much legal. If you want to smoke weed, you know, on your casual time,
Do it.
for me, there's no problem against it. But I see a lot of people that are smarter than me, more gifted than me, and they are just in a constant loop that they need to be high when they're not doing something. And then that time just gets wasted. Where, on the other hand, we're reading books, I'm going to the gym, I'm playing with Ace. I've met so much people going to the dog park. So that's just time spent at the dog park, you know?
Right.
You know what's crazy? I hope more people do smoke weed and do become more lazy or do become more unproductive because it makes everything easier for me.
Yeah.
That's how I see it, because the people, like, the world we live in is so much easier than from where our parents grew up in, because everybody, like, a lot of people recognize I have to bust my ass to get going.
Oh, yeah.
Now we live in a world of, like, social media, and you can learn everything on the internet, and people think it's easy because you can learn it from home. You still got to put the work in. You still have to study and educate yourself and be around people with experience. And so I kind of like, go ahead, keep smoking. It just makes everything that I'm doing a little bit more easier, because I recognize the majority of the population is easily influenced because it makes you feel good, or it's an escape or something. I don't know why people do it, but I just recognize it's going to be easier for me to climb up the ladder that I need to climb.
True. You know, in that aspect, I came from a blue-collar career and work, and most people, it's just sad the way things have turned. It's become like the bottom of the barrel decision to make to do something like that. And so just being an average guy with a little bit of like a hunger in him, I was able to move up fast because there wasn't that many competitors to compete against.
Right.
So yeah, there's a net positive and a net negative, but net negative comes from the person themselves. Like it affects them, no one else.
Yeah, kind of coming back to what John said. He said, I've met many people that are more talented than me, more this, and that than me. But they just, waste their time doing whatever it might be smoking weed, might be whatever.
Just not applying themselves.
Right.
I see it often.
And one of the biggest quotes I think I ever learned was, hard work beats talent when talent isn't working hard. Yeah. And I think that's been one of the biggest things for myself, seeing like,
as well,
there's talented people in my department that are really talented, but they refuse to put in the work. And hard work will always be talent when talent's not working hard.
Back to my job.
Damn.
My boss was like, there can be Mr. Golden Arm, Mr. Golden Well, who's like amazing.
Right.
But if he's lazy, we can never depend on him. They go, you show up every day, you work extra hours, you're Mr. Consistent.
Right.
We can bank on you, And that like over time, like what's just better, I don't know, but at least people can recognize that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, with any skill, right? It could be a sport, it could be any skill. It's like the person could be really talented, but if they're not putting in the work every single day to make this thing happen, then all you have is talent. You know what I mean? You don't have the experience of hard work and actually developing the skill. Like, you just have the talent.
Yeah.
Like, imagine any, like, amazing basketball player. Like, imagine if LeBron was just talented and didn't put in hard work. Yeah. Just be any other basketball player. But look, the main thing that made him different is, like, he works hard, right? Yeah. He works hard on his body to make sure he's durable. He works hard on his skills to make sure he develops new skills. Yeah. So it's like, if you really want to excel and become above average, which a lot of people nowadays – they don't want to be average because we're also like, we're convinced that that's not good. It's like, put in the hard work. You're not going to get it just by being talented.
Definitely.
Yeah, and you'll increase your skill in whatever you're learning to do.
Right.
I think Devin used to tell me that too. He's like, yeah, well, Forex is going to be kind of crazy at first. And if you stick to it, it's going to pay off like eventually. Yeah, and it's like it's been like a year or two and you're already like doing pretty good. Like,
yeah.
I think it's a respect thing too, People can see you put in work consistently.
Yeah, it's like what we learned in I think it was like 7 Habits, right? Like, you can't fake lifting weight. You put in the work to lift the weight.
Right. Yeah, I think the gym is a good place to see that.
I love the gym.
Yeah, the gym is a great place to see that. Yeah. There's people with genetics, but the dude that doesn't have the genetics but still going crazy in the gym gonna look better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro.
So that unless he gets on a cycle, you know what I'm saying? What a juice!
I'm trying to shoot up, bro.
So I feel like we're sort of wrapping it up. Yeah.
We haven't gotten into burning ships, really.
We
kind of talked about burning the ships.
I think we kind of talked about. There's no need to circle back on something again.
Definitely. Sometimes you just gotta burn the ships.
Listeners? Do you have a quote or like something?
Burn the ships. Burn the whole shit down.
No, I don't. So I'm okay with that.
One thing I would just add is don't be afraid to try something and fail.
Right.
I know I brought up trading a couple times this episode, but one last thing. When I first started, I lost $2,000. And if my parents would have done that, or if they would have even known, they would have advised me to stop. Because they go, that's not what normal people can't do that, John. That's what smart people do. You should apply yourself to other things maybe you're more better at.
What smart people do.
No, I can hear my family talking to me right now.
Damn.
But I just kept trying because it was fun. I was interested, and I had gone up prior. I know I could do it again. And now I would say my account's at a pretty good size. My parents are being like, maybe you should do stuff for us sometimes. But it's only because I just didn't give up, and I was consistent, and I put in time. Even I brought up earlier that I feel like I'm mediocre only because I want more. So sometimes you fail, but it doesn't mean that you're a failure. It just means you haven't put up enough time to be a winner yet.
I would tell all the listeners to just be comfortable with the fact that failing is okay, and expect failure. Just fucking take that shit. You're gonna fail a lot if you really want to be successful in anything that you do. You gotta get over that hump from the get go.
Right.
Expect failure. Fuck it. But who cares?
Yeah. Two things. I think it comes back to a Thomas Edison quote where it's like they ask him, okay, well you submitted, you submitted 1,000 patents for a light bulb and 1,000 didn't work. How do you live with 1,000 failures? He's like, well, it's kind of your mindset about it, right? It's like, you may look at it as 1,000 failures. I look at it as 1,000 new ways to learn to the real. What do you say?
No. I think it was.
I learned 1,000 ways that didn't work.
Yeah, I learned 1,000 ways to not do it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so it's like looking at it. Is this it's a processing thing, right? It's like, okay, I might have failed. Let me sit down, think about this for a second. Why did I fail? What can I apply moving forward? And so just to wrap up, burn the ships. At the bottom of 82, he says, rather than thinking about whether a given new thing is better than the old one, by helping to take the inaction off the table, burning the ships encourages people to set aside the old and instead think about which new thing is worth pursuing. So I just wanted to kind of put the bow tie on what that is.
Yeah.
Everyone go find that new
Berger
thing and pursue it.
Hell yeah. So yeah, that's a summary. What was that, chapter 2?
That was chapter 2, Endowment. Thank you guys for watching Paradyme. We love y'all. Go out there, pursue, keep being great, keep improving.
We'll be back for chapter 3 of the Catalyst. How many? There's probably 12 chapters. This book is not that big, so we'll probably be done. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. This chapter that we just currently read was chapter 2, titled Endowment, in the book called The Catalyst by Jonah Berger. Head to the description down below. Follow us on all social media platforms. And again, support the channel by subscribing, like, and commenting, leaving us some feedback to improve every single week. And remember, now equals tomorrow. Peace.